The Hanteo Music Awards. A prestigious award festival attended by many of Korea's biggest stars. Except this year's award show turned out to be a complete show, both metaphorically and literally. Hey professors, today we'll be talking about the absolute disaster that was the 31st Hanteo Music Awards. From fans literally pooping in the stands to the near stampede conditions at the venue, this event was by far the most chaotic award show in K-pop and possibly all of music history. So what exactly happened and how did things get so bad? Well, before we jump into that, I wanted to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, Clutebox. Clutebox is a K-pop subscription box packed with yummy Korean snacks and merchandise from all your favorite groups. Now, if you've been following me for long enough, then you probably already know how much I look forward to my Cluteboxes. And this month, we have another box. So this is the BTS box, and as usual, I cannot wait to open it. So let's take a look at what we got this time. Each and every Clute box is different, and they're constantly updating their merchandise to go with the latest comeback. So the unboxing process is always a huge surprise. I think my favorite items from this box has to be this t-shirt, as well as this super cute mouse pad. Oh my gosh, I've needed a mouse pad. This is so cute. What I really like about Clutebox is that you get to pick not only your favorite group, but also your bias, along with your diet preferences and your clothing size. So your box is always super customized to your preferences. And the best part is, if you click on the link below or use code PLOOPY678, you can get 5% off at checkout. So be sure to check out Clutebox today, and huge thanks to them for supporting this channel. Okay, so the 31st Hanteo Music Awards, or the HMAs for short, started with a ton of excitement and anticipation, just like any other award show.
그 놀라운 음악 이야기가 시작됩니다.
Now, for some context, the HMAs are an annual award ceremony that are hosted by Hanteo Global Inc., which is the company responsible for the Hanteo music charts. This is the oldest music chart in Korea, and it mostly tracks physical album sales, and it's used to determine like weekly music show wins and stuff. And so obviously, winning an award at their award show would be a huge achievement for K-pop stars and their fans alike. The best part was the HMAs also included a fan voting element. So winners were not just chosen based on their music chart performances, but also through popularity polls, which fans could participate in by downloading Hanteo's official mobile app, Who's Fan. And so weeks ahead of the event, fans were already, downloading Who's Fan and going on there to vote for their favorite artists. Extra dedicated fans even had the option to buy credits or participate in mini games on the Who's Fan app to get additional votes. And just to give you an idea of how much anticipation there was surrounding all of this, it was said that in the end, people from 208 different countries casted a total of 176 million votes. And then in early February of 2024, the date, location, and guest lineup at this year's HMAs was finally confirmed. It was revealed that this year's award ceremony would be taking place at the Dongdaemun Design Plaza over the course of 2 days, from the 17th to the 18th of February, and was set to include guest appearances from many of Korea's hottest celebrities. In particular, the second day was especially exciting for fans because the attendee list consisted of groups like ATEEZ, aespa, NCT, and Zero Base One, which if you do not follow K-pop, these are pretty much some of the top groups in Korea. So needless to say, people immediately flocked to purchase tickets to the event, and many people could even be seen raving about it on social media. I think this will be the best award ceremony of the year. Oh my god, I'm finally going to see NCT in person. I'm gagging. Little could anyone have known that this fan was right. A bit too right. Because everyone at this event was indeed going to be gagging. Just for all the wrong reasons. 18th of February, 2 p.m. What was supposed to be an amazing day got off to a dreary start right from the beginning, with the weather being especially cold and rainy. To make matters worse, there was also a lot of confusion regarding the admissions time for the event, with some websites stating that admissions began as early as 2 p.m., while other websites stated that it only began at 4 to 6 p.m. And so there were crowds of people waiting outside the Dongdaemun Design Plaza, confused as to what was going on. And because there was no shelter provided, some people were standing out in the rain for as many as 4 hours. Worse yet, security allegedly forced people to throw their open water bottles away, with some reports even stating that they actually opened people's water bottles and dumped their water directly on the floor. To be completely fair, this was likely a security measure to make sure that no one brought alcohol into the venue, but as you'll see, it turned out to be a huge mistake later down the road. 7 p.m. After hours of waiting in the miserable rain, it was finally time for the award show to begin. And so the singers entered the venue and took their seats at the artists' lounge located on the right side of the audience stands. Unfortunately, what initially started off as an exciting moment soon devolved into chaos as fans jostled to get closer to their favorite singers. This resulted in dangerous overcrowding, and to make matters even worse, due to the rainy weather, many fans were also drenched when they entered the venue, causing the floor to be wet and slippery. Photos from the event show just how unevenly distributed the crowd was, with hundreds of fans packed like sardines around the right side of the stands. But whilst most audience members were busy clamoring for a chance to get close to their favorite celebrities, there was one unfortunate fandom that was facing a completely different problem: the NCT fans. As I mentioned previously, NCT was one of the most highly anticipated guests that day, and they were the reason why many people had booked tickets to this event. However, just moments ago, fans had gotten wind that, quote, only some members would actually be attending. But which members exactly? Well, nobody knew, because now that the event had begun, none of the NCT members were anywhere to be found at the artist lounge. Several fans attempted to message Hanteo staff to confirm which members would be coming and where the members were, but they were met with vague and, let's just say, unprofessional responses. And so, in the end, these NCT fans were left scratching their heads and wondering if any members would even be attending at all. 8 p.m. By now, the crowding situation at the venue had continued to worsen, with near stampede conditions arising in the area near the artist lounge. Many of the singers were desperately trying to ask the fans to back off, but to no avail.
제노즈 너무너무 사랑합니다. 근데 지금 너무 위험해서 다들 한 발짝만 뒤로 가세요.
And security also tried to intervene, but was quickly overwhelmed by the uncontrollable mob. Fans were literally passing out from exhaustion and dehydration. So much for asking them to throw their water bottles away. And several speeches even had to be interrupted to deal with the chaos ensuing in the stands.
분들이 한 발자국만 뒤로 가주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 예, 어디냐면 정확히.
And then things just continued to go from bad to worse during Zero Base 1's performance, when a brawl allegedly broke out in the crowd. To give some context, prior to this award show, there had already been a huge controversy surrounding one of the Zero Base 1 members, Jiyoung, after he was reportedly caught doing the horrific, unthinkable act of saying the F word after being on a call with a fan. In true K-pop fashion, this seemingly insignificant event had somehow become the talk of the K-pop community for weeks at this point. And it seemed like poor Jiyoung couldn't escape this controversy even at this award show. It all started towards the end of Zero Base 1's performance, when an audience member can be heard yelling loudly for Jiyoung to leave the band. Following this, a squabble allegedly broke out between the audience member in question and some of Zero Base One's fans. Now, to be fair, accounts of what happened differ greatly, with some people claiming that nothing physical happened, while other witnesses claimed that fans were actually throwing punches, and the fight was so severe that Zero Base One's fansite master fainted after getting hit with a light stick. Obviously, none of us knows exactly what happened, but what we do know for sure was that Zero Base One's moving performance sure seemed to elicit all types of emotions that night, ranging from the anger of the fighting fans all the way to the steamy, passionate romance that was allegedly taking place near the middle of the audience stands. According to some witnesses, a couple was allegedly seen doing naughty acts smack dab in the middle of the crowd during Zero Base One's performance, and used condoms were even discovered in the trash cans after the event. Meanwhile, a primary school student was also caught peeing in the stands after they couldn't get to the toilet in time, possibly due to the crowd. And when security was informed of the incident, they allegedly said, quote, "Perhaps the peeing is for the better, because fans would stop crowding around the area."
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
But of course, all that was just wishful thinking. The pee did not improve the situation, and if anything, this already disastrous scenario was just about to get much, much crappier. 8:50 p.m. Fans catch a whiff of a nasty stench. As the putrid smell lingers across the crowd, security are asked to investigate the area. Little could they have known that they were about to encounter the worst moment of their careers. As it turns out, the smell had emanated from a few pieces of feces lying on the ground. That's right, guys, someone had apparently taken a dump near the front of the crowd right next to the artist lounge. According to some accounts, security attempted to splash water on the to wash it away? Not really sure how that works, but unsurprisingly, it made the situation even worse, with chunks of splattering off the ground and landing on people's shoes and clothes. Eventually, security gave up, and so the poo just remained on the floor for the rest of the event.
The security says it's poo and tried to make it visible with a flashlight, but they say they can't clean it up, so there's nothing else they can do. It smells like
I was so nauseous I felt like I was about to die. Nobody cleaned it. Chunks of poo were flying and splattering on the floor.
Unsurprisingly, this incident quickly went viral on social media, causing the hashtag #ThePersonWhoPooped to trend across Korea. And let me just tell you, trolls were absolutely having a field day with this story. I mean, people were posting supposed photos of the poop, which actually turned out to just be a photo of a hair extension, and someone claiming to be the supposed Hanteo party pooper in question even took to X to issue an apology, which read, "Hello, I am the person who pooped my pants at the Hanteo Chart concert hall. Looking at Twitter, I realized that many people had a hard time because of me. I apologize for any inconvenience caused to many people, and I will solemnly reflect on what happened today. Sorry again for your good day." The earnest nature of the post made it both hilarious and a little bit sad, and many people actually believed it, so they were leaving sympathetic responses. But of course, this apology post was also a fake, and the person who posted it was actually a troll with a weird obsession with poop. Like, seriously, his whole Twitter is full of poop jokes. Aside from this, there were also many other jokes and fake apologies posted about this incident, and overall, I guess the whole story just turned into a huge meme. But back at the Dongdaemun Design Plaza, this was obviously no laughing matter for the artists and fans who were still trapped at the venue. With the smell of sweat, body odor, pee, and now poo lingering in the air, the smell was simply too overwhelming. Even the singers who were originally trying their best to look picture perfect at the event were now covering their noses and gagging. Audience members also reported feeling nauseous due to the lack of ventilation, and with more and more fans passing out at the stands, it wasn't long before people were calling for the event to end early.
Fighting, shitting, peeing. HMAs are a shit show. I just want to go home.
Just end this dumb award show already. At this point, I think it's safe to say that the Hanteo Music Awards were literally hanging on by a thread. But thankfully, there were still two things that were barely keeping fans around and stopping the award show from full-on imploding. First of all, NCT finally arrived at approximately 9 p.m., about 2 hours into the event. To be exact, only 3 out of the 14 members actually showed up, but to the hundreds of NCT fans who had been suffering in the standing pits, I guess they were just glad to be able to catch a glimpse of the boys, so they certainly weren't gonna leave now. And then the second thing that was keeping people around was that fans of the rapper B.I. were still waiting for him to be presented with his award in the hip-hop category, something which never ended up happening. If you recall, all of the awards at the HMAs included a popularity element, where fans could vote for their favorite artist through the Who's Fan app. This was exactly what B.I.'s fans did, with many even purchasing the extra credits and playing the mini games to obtain the extra votes. And it was all thanks to their efforts that B.I. ended up winning first place in the hip-hop category. Of course, now fans were just waiting for B.I. to be presented with his award. But as 9:30 rolled around, and as the event was about to come to a close, B.I. still hadn't been presented with this award. In fact, the whole hip-hop category had seemingly been skipped over. And so, as all the artists took their final bow, and as the exhausted audience members yeeted out of that stinky-ass concert hall with scrapes and bruises across their bodies, the B.I. fans in particular were left feeling extra deceived and confused. Not only had Hanteo wasted their money and time casting the votes, they had also subjected themselves to this disaster of an award show for absolutely no reason. And so these B.I. fans immediately took to social media to demand an explanation from Hanteo.
Conducting paid votings and then getting rid of a category in the ceremony is a scam.
You literally scammed us. We need to sue you.
Where's the winner for the hip-hop category?
Hanteo would eventually semi-respond to these concerns by issuing a congratulatory post to B.I. 2 days later. However, they never got round to addressing any of the other incidents that happened. I mean, online there were so many posts criticizing this award show for its poor organization, and some netizens were even calling for official investigations into the event. Yet, despite all of this public backlash, Hanteo instead acted as if the award show had been a huge success, and they even issued a company statement that read, "We successfully completed all stages and award ceremonies with favorable reviews from K-pop fans. We will return with more music festivals that everyone can enjoy together, enjoy together, enjoy together, enjoy together."
Oh, hell no!
Needless to say, this excitement isn't shared by everyone, with many of the attendees vowing to never return to the Hanteo Music Awards ever again. But of course, all of this leads us to the big question. What went wrong here? What caused this award show to fail so catastrophically? Well, let's start off with the name of the event. I did a bit of digging into the history of the HMAs, and I haven't actually seen anyone talk about this yet, but as it turns out, even the name of the award show, i.e. the 31st Hanteo Music Awards, is misleading in and of itself. Because with a name like that, you would think that this is an award show that is really established with a 31-year legacy, right? But as it turns out, the HMAs are a new and barely established award ceremony that is only in its 3rd year of infancy. Let me explain. While the Hanteo music charts are indeed a well-known music chart that has been around for 31 years, the award show itself only began in 2022. And the whole reason why the award show was even started in the first place was because Hanteo wanted to promote their newly launched mobile voting app, Who's Fan. Additionally, the first HMAs in 2022 were just an online event, and it wasn't until last year, in 2023, that the Hanteo Music Awards was held in person for the first time. What this means is that this year's award show is only the second in-person award ceremony ever organized by Hanteo. So no wonder that the company lacked experience, and honestly, it showed. From the understaffing issues to the numerous technical problems, perhaps the biggest mistake the company made was regarding the venue. But there is a reason for this. You see, during last year's award show, Hangul made the mistake of booking the Jamsil Arena, one of the biggest stadiums in Korea with a seating capacity of over 11,000 people. Unfortunately though, perhaps because of budgeting issues, or perhaps because they simply weren't as established as other award shows, they weren't able to book many of the top artists, resulting in disappointing ticket sales and a half-empty stadium. I'm guessing it's because of last year's mistake that this year, Hangul decided to book the much more modest Dongdaemun Design Plaza, which only had a seating capacity of 1,500 people, which is less than 1/7 of the Jamsil Arena. On the other hand, the team in charge of booking the artists were also trying to make changes, and this year they had actually managed to secure a much better lineup with many of Korea's top artists. I think it's safe to say that both teams likely had good intentions, but of course, what ended up happening was that now far too many people were trying to book tickets to an event that simply didn't have the capacity. So what did the organizers do? Well, instead of trying to limit audience numbers, they allegedly oversold tickets, cramming over 2,000 people into a space that was only meant for 1,500. On top of that, the audience stands were not organized into manageable subsections. Instead, the entire venue was only split into two parts, Zone A and Zone B. Additionally, the area only consisted of standing pits instead of allocated seats, so essentially, people were free to move about within their zone. And with over 1,000 people crowded into each zone, walking about as they pleased, it's no wonder that everyone began crowding around the artist lounge. After all, who wouldn't want the most bang for their buck, right? And yeah, that was what caused these stampede conditions to arise. From the instances of the fans fainting from exhaustion and heat stroke, all the way to the people who pooped and peed in the stands because they couldn't get to the toilet in time, almost all of the things that went wrong during this event can be traced back to the horrific lack of crowd control. Things could have honestly turned dangerous, and if I was a Hangul organizer, I would be thanking the heavens right now that no major accidents ended up happening despite all of the chaos. Of course, there were also other factors that ended up making this already terrible day even worse, ranging from the whole Who's Fan BI voting fiasco to the missing NCT members to the idiotic behaviors of a few rogue fans. I mean, even the weather was terrible, so clearly it seemed like luck just wasn't in the cards for this godforsaken award show. But with that being said, I do want to end on a happier note. I mean, despite everything that happened, there were many awesome performances at this year's HMAs, and some people who attended said that they genuinely had a good time overall. Not to mention, netizens did manage to bond over the hilarious memes that stemmed out of this event, so it wasn't all doom and gloom, I guess. But yeah, if any of you guys watching happen to be attendees at this year's HMAs, then I'm really curious to hear about your experiences. How did you find it? And were things really as bad as people said they were? Do let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely interested. And if you enjoyed today's video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. As usual, my research documents will be on Patreon. Oh, and also, I know my upload schedule for these long videos can be kind of sparse, just because I want to make sure I pick a good topic and do my research, and I also edit all the videos myself, so it actually takes quite a long time. But if you do want to catch more of me, then be sure to check out my YouTube Shorts, where I upload dance videos every 3 to 4 days, so there's definitely a lot more of me on there. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for now, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye! Thank you for watching, and special thanks to my Patreon members for supporting my channel. If you'd like to watch reaction videos and other bonus content, then be sure to check that out on my Patreon.